We, the delegates at the 2011 Girls 20 Summit, celebrate the importance of girls and women as champions of development and progress, including Peace Prize winners President Ellen Johnson-Sirleaf, Leymah Gbowee, and Tawakkol Kanan, the new managing director of the International Monetary Fund, Christine Lagarde, and all of the women who fought courageously for their nations and their own rights in the recent Arab Spring. Yet, in an era of globalization and technological advancement, we are more aware than ever before of the existence of gender inequality in our society and the devastating impact it has on our families, our communities, and our countries. Further, as the economic downturn continues and the Eurozone debt crisis take prominence, we call attention to the alarming truth that girls and women are at the greatest risk. Mindful of the fact that women have the potential to play a pivotal role in global economic progress and peace building, we came in France in advance of the G20 meeting to debate, discuss, and develop recommendations for the leaders of the world's most powerful nations. Today, we ask those leaders and changemakers to work with purpose and urgency for the eliminations of the obstacles that continue to hinder the participation of girls and women in being part of the solution to the global challenges we face. We declare that investing in, believing in, and empowering women is not only the right policy, but the policy that makes the most economic sense.
Hello. On the subject of gender-based violence and inequality, we assert that gender-based violence transcends all boundaries and has been specifically linked to a decrease in productivity and economic growth. In a time when up to 60% of women experience physical and sexual violence, we call upon leaders and change makers to end gender-based violence and inequality by, but not limited to, creating mechanisms that enable accurate data collection on issues like domestic violence, sex trafficking, and coerced marriage, providing safe and accessible medical, legal, skill building, and psychosocial support to the victims of gender-based violence. Thank you.
On the subject of education, training, and employment, we assert that there are opportunities within education systems to improve the ability to girls to learn and contribute. We call upon leaders and change makers to equalize access to education for girls and women by including, but not limited to, the following recommendations. Supporting the introduction of resources that build the self-esteem of both girls and boys, and mandating preparation and protocols for safe, basic primary education delivery in conflict and disaster areas. Additionally, we assert that female entrepreneurship is necessary to fuel the economy. We call upon leaders and change makers to build the capacity of women to contribute in the economic betterment of their communities by including but not limited to the following recommendations: supporting microfinance initiatives for women and incentivizing women to return to their home country after foreign education.
On the subject of political, economic, and social representation, we acknowledge the statistics that productivity gains and increased GDP are directly linked to the increased number of women in the labor force. We assert that suppression of basic rights and the exclusion of 50% of the world's population from employment and leadership results in missed opportunity. We call upon leaders and change makers to give women a political voice, actively pursue a higher percentage of female representation in decision-making, and invest in women as important economic drivers by, including, but not limited to, raising awareness through all available mediums on women's right to equal representation in politics and economics, and in undertaking national awareness campaigns to break gender stereotypes associated with science, technology, engineering, and math. Enforcing employment and layoff protection for women worldwide. Acknowledging the economic contribution of migrant workers, protecting their human rights, providing legal advocacy channels, and regulating their working conditions.
Good morning, everyone. On the subject of health, we assert that a healthy nation means a stronger workforce and higher productivity, which leads to a more competitive economy. We call on our leaders and change makers to build partnerships between developed and developing nations by, including but not limited to, investing in safe, clean, accessible facilities and mobile health centers while clinical infrastructure is set up, along with sexual health education and access to family planning, supporting community-led initiatives that demonstrate female children are as valuable as male children, and denounce the practice of gender-based feticide and infanticide, and training women to be community-based health workers and medical professionals tackling maternal health, which we believe has a significant health and economic impact on communities. This concludes our communique.